You know that feeling, right? You record yourself talking, maybe it's a voicemail, maybe it's a video, you hit play, and you just get that immediate cringe, that thought of, wait, is that what I sound like? Well, you're definitely not alone, and today we are going to get to the bottom of this whole strange mystery. Okay, let's just dive right in. That specific uncomfortable cringe you feel when you hear your own voice played back, it's so common, it's practically a universal human experience. So what is going on? Why does the voice we literally live with every single day suddenly sound so completely alien and, well, just wrong when we hear it from a speaker? So the answer, it's not just one thing. It's actually this really fascinating journey that starts inside our own head, literally with the bones in our skull, and it goes all the way to the deepest parts of our identity. So let's break it down piece by piece. All right, so the journey to an answer starts with some pretty simple physics. See, here's the thing. The problem isn't the recording. The problem is that you and everybody else in the world are hearing two totally different versions of your voice. Okay, so let's get into these two paths. When somebody else listens to you speak, or when a microphone is recording you, it's only capturing the sound waves that are traveling through the air. That's called air conduction. But when you hear yourself speak, you get that, plus you get something extra, bone conduction. The vibrations from your vocal cords travel directly through the bones of your skull to your inner ear. And here's why that is such a huge deal. Your own skull is basically a natural built-in bass booster. It holds on to all those lower, richer frequencies in your voice, giving it that deep, resonant sound that you're so used to. A recording? Well, it only captures the sound from the air, so it strips all of that bass away. But this is where it gets really, really interesting, because this whole thing isn't just about sound waves. It's about what that sound actually means to our sense of who we are. It's about psychology. And here's the real kicker. This is the part that can feel a little jarring. That thinner, maybe higher pitched voice you hear on the recording, the one you don't even recognize, that is the real you. Or at least it's much, much closer to how the rest of the world actually hears you every single day. This feeling is so incredibly common that psychologists actually have a name for it: voice confrontation. It's that very specific, unsettling feeling that comes from that clash, that sudden, jarring gap between the voice we know in our head and the one we meet out in the world. And this is really why it feels so personal. Our voice is fundamental to our identity. I mean, it's woven into our self-image. So hearing that recording isn't just hearing a different sound. It's like meeting a version of yourself that just doesn't match the me you carry around in your head. It's kind of like a miniature identity crisis. But to truly understand this deep, deep connection we have with our own voice, we've got to go even deeper. I'm talking all the way back to the very beginning of our lives. Psychoanalytic theory has some incredible ideas here. First, there's this concept of the sonorous envelope. This idea that as infants, we're just wrapped in a world of sound, mostly our mother's voice. That voice then becomes our very first sonorous mirror, the first time we sort of feel our own existence reflected back at us. From that, we also learn the music of language, not just the words, but all the emotion carried in the tone and rhythm. And then even later, as Freud talked about, that critical inner voice we all have, the superego, it's built by internalizing the voices of our parents. This ancient quote from Socrates just nails it perfectly. Speak so that I may see you. Our voice isn't just a tool we use for communication. It's a window into our very being. It's how we present our inner world, our history, our whole identity to other people. So of course, when that presentation is challenged by a recording, it feels deeply, deeply personal. Okay, so we understand the physics, we get the psychology, but what can we actually do about it? How do we move past that cringe and maybe learn to accept, or dare I say it, even like our recorded voice? So the very first step is just a shift in perspective. This discomfort, this cringe, it's not a flaw to be avoided. It's actually a signal. It's an invitation to bridge that gap between how we see ourselves and how we actually present ourselves to the world. It's really a chance to get to know yourself a little better. And there are actually practical techniques that can help with this. One really fascinating method is called ego-directed speech. The process is pretty simple, but it's really powerful. First, you just decide on a positive internal change you want to make. Maybe it's more self-confidence, maybe it's more self-acceptance. Second, you record a message to yourself in your own voice that supports that goal. And third, you just listen to that recording over and over for a few weeks. And what this does is just incredible. by repeatedly hearing your own voice, your actual recorded voice, delivering a positive, supportive message. You're not just getting used to the sound of it, you're actually rewiring your relationship with it. You're using that external voice to reinforce your internal self, and in the process, you close that gap and build genuine self-acceptance. So the next time you hear your voice on a recording, instead of cringing, try thinking of it as a meeting, a chance to introduce your internal self to your external self. And that really leaves us with one final thought. If you had the chance to have that meeting, to speak to yourself and really truly be heard, what would you want to say?